We live in a world that celebrates the grand, the obvious, the loud. We're told that it's the bold lipstick, the perfectly styled hair, or the latest trend that catches someone's attention. But what if I told you that the things men remember the most aren't the things that women deliberately put on display? It's the little things, the unnoticed, unintentional details that leave the biggest impressions. It's the way she absent-mindedly tucks her hair behind her ear when she's deep in thought, the way she bites her lip when she's trying not to laugh at something ridiculous, the tiny crinkle near her eyes when she smiles, a smile that isn't forced or posed, but one that comes from something real. Men notice when she reaches for her coffee cup with both hands, savoring the warmth like it's the first sip of the day. They notice the way her scent lingers just for a second when she walks by, the faintest trace of something soft, something familiar. They notice the way her fingers dance on the table when she's nervous, or how she subconsciously mirrors their gestures in conversation. And here's the thing, these details aren't things a woman plans. She doesn't wake up thinking, today I'm going to tuck my hair behind my ear in the perfect way. She just does it. It's effortless, it's natural, and that's what makes it so powerful. Because in a world where we're constantly told to curate, filter, and perfect everything about ourselves, the things that matter most, the things that men truly notice, are the ones that can't be planned. They are the habits, the quirks, the small, unpolished moments that make a woman unique. So the next time you wonder if anyone notices the tiny details, the things you do without thinking, the way your face lights up when you talk about something you love, know this, they do. Maybe they don't always say it, maybe they don't always know why it stands out to them. But those little things, those are the things they remember long after the conversation ends. Confidence isn't about being the loudest voice in the room. It's not about demanding attention or always having the perfect thing to say. Real confidence is quieter than that. It's something you feel before you even see it. Men notice confidence not because of how it looks, but because of how it feels. It's in the way a woman carries herself, the way she walks into a room with a quiet assurance, not seeking approval, not waiting for someone to validate her presence, but simply being there like she belongs, because she does. It's in her posture, the way she stands tall, not because she's trying to impress anyone, but because she owns the space she's in. It's in her voice, the way she speaks with certainty, not arrogance, but a calm belief in what she's saying. It's in her actions, the way she chooses to be kind, not because she wants to be liked, but because that's who she is. Men notice when a woman is comfortable in her own skin. They notice when she's not constantly adjusting her dress, fidgeting with her hair, or hesitating before she speaks as if she's second-guessing herself. They notice when she walks with purpose, when she makes eye contact without looking away too quickly, when she laughs without holding back. But here's what's even more interesting. Men also notice the absence of confidence. They notice when someone shrinks themselves, when they apologize for taking up space, when they hold back from sharing an opinion because they're afraid of what others might think. And the truth is, insecurity is just as visible as confidence. The thing about confidence is that it's not about being perfect. It's not about having it all figured out. It's about trusting yourself, trusting that your presence matters, that your words have value, that you don't need to be anyone other than who you are. And when a woman steps into that kind of confidence, not the fake, forced kind, but the real, deeply rooted kind, it changes the way people see her. It changes the way she sees herself. Because confidence isn't just something men notice. It's something everyone feels. It's something that draws people in, makes them listen, makes them remember. And that kind of confidence, that's magnetic. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately felt the energy shift? Maybe you've met someone who, without saying a word, made you feel completely at ease. Or on the flip side, someone whose presence felt heavy, tense, or closed off. That's emotional energy. And men notice it more than women realize. A woman's energy speaks before she does. It's in her body language, in the way she listens, in the way she reacts to the world around her. She can say all the right words, but if her energy doesn't match, people feel the disconnect. Men notice when a woman radiates warmth, the kind of presence that makes a conversation feel effortless, the kind of energy that makes people want to lean in, stay a little longer, share a little more. They notice when she's fully present, when she listens with real interest instead of waiting for her turn to speak, when she engages in a way that makes them feel seen. But they also notice the opposite. They pick up on when a woman is distracted, guarded, or closed off. They may not always be able to put it into words, but they can feel when someone is physically present, but emotionally somewhere else. It's in the way she avoids eye contact, the way her answers feel rehearsed or distant, the way she laughs but doesn't really seem to be enjoying herself. And here's something important. A woman's emotional energy isn't just about how she interacts with others, it's about how she interacts with herself. Men notice when a woman carries herself with peace, when she's comfortable in her own space, when she doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. That kind of energy, calm, secure, at ease, draws people in without effort. But they also notice when someone is carrying stress, resentment, or insecurity. Not because they're judging, but because energy is contagious. Think about it. When you're around someone who's always tense, negative, or constantly doubting themselves, you feel it, don't you? It affects the conversation, the connection, even the way you feel about yourself in that moment. But when you're around someone who exudes peace, joy, or quiet confidence, you feel that too. It lifts you up. That's why emotional energy speaks louder than words. It's not about what's being said, it's about what's being felt. So if there's one thing to take away, it's this. People may forget what you say, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And the energy you bring into a space, that's what truly leaves a lasting impression. Perfection is exhausting. It's a moving target, an impossible standard that keeps shifting just when you think you've got it figured out. And yet, so many people, especially women, feel this pressure to present themselves as flawless, the perfect appearance, the perfect personality, the perfect response in every situation. But here's the truth. Men don't fall for perfection. They fall for what's real. Authenticity is what leaves a lasting impression. Not a carefully curated version of a person, but the one who is unapologetically themselves. Men notice when a woman is comfortable in her own skin, when she isn't trying to mold herself into what she thinks others want her to be. It's in the way she embraces her quirks rather than hides them, the way she laughs loudly at something ridiculous without worrying about looking ladylike, the way she admits when she doesn't know something instead of pretending she does. It's in the way she wears what makes her feel good instead of following the latest trend just because everyone else is. Men notice when a woman is genuinely enjoying herself, when she's present in the moment rather than performing for an invisible audience. They notice when she's passionate about something, when she talks about her dreams without watering them down, when she allows herself to be vulnerable instead of always putting up a front. And here's the surprising part. Men also notice when someone is trying too hard. They can sense when a woman is filtering her words, laughing at jokes she doesn't find funny, or forcing herself to fit into a version of herself that doesn't feel natural. Perfection isn't just unattainable, it's obvious. And it creates distance rather than connection. What people really connect with is honesty, the little imperfections, the unscripted moments, the willingness to be open and real. It's the woman who owns her story, the good, the messy, the funny, and the painful that stands out the most. Because at the end of the day, no one remembers the person who tried to be perfect. They remember the person who made them feel something, the one who was bold enough to be themselves in a world that constantly tells them to be something else. Authenticity is powerful, and the people who truly matter, they will always choose real over perfect. We tend to think that big, grand gestures are what leave the strongest impressions. The dramatic declarations, the over-the-top surprises, the moments that feel straight out of a movie. But the truth is, what really lingers in a person's mind, what men notice, even when women don't realize it, are the smallest, most subtle gestures. It's the way she absent-mindedly tucks a loose strand of hair behind her ear when she's deep in thought. The way her fingers brush the rim of her coffee cup as she listens intently. The way she tilts her head slightly when she's genuinely interested in what someone is saying. Men notice these things not because they're looking for them, but because they feel them. They may not be able to articulate why a certain moment stood out, but it does. It's the way she lightly touches someone's arm in a moment of connection, the way her lips curve just slightly before she bursts into full laughter, the way she bites her lower lip when she's trying to hold back a smile. These small, unconscious gestures are powerful because they're real. They aren't rehearsed, they aren't calculated, they're simply her. And that's what makes them unforgettable. Men also notice the tiny things that reveal a woman's kindness and warmth. The way she instinctively leans in when someone is speaking, making them feel like they're the only person in the room. The way she pauses to hold the door open for a stranger, even when she doesn't have to. The way she offers a genuine thank you to a barista, a cashier, or a server, not out of obligation, but out of true appreciation. And then there's the way she reacts when she thinks no one is watching. The way she watches a sunset with quiet admiration, completely lost in the beauty of it. The way she instinctively reaches out to comfort a friend. The way she gets lost in a song, swaying just slightly, unaware that anyone is noticing. Because here's the thing, men may not always comment on these small details. They may not even consciously realize that they're paying attention. But these tiny, effortless moments, they leave an impression. They tell a story about who a woman truly is, not just the version she presents to the world, but the one she doesn't even realize she's showing. And that's the kind of thing that stays with someone long after the conversation ends, long after the night is over, long after everything else fades away. The power of subtle gestures is that they don't demand attention, and yet somehow they capture it completely. At the end of the day, it's not the loudest, boldest, or most obvious things that leave the deepest impressions. It's the little moments, the unseen details, the energy that lingers long after a person has left the room. Men may not always articulate it, but they notice so much more than women realize. They notice the subtle gestures that reveal authenticity, the quiet confidence that speaks louder than words, the emotional energy that makes them feel at ease or on edge. They notice the things that aren't forced, the moments that aren't performed, the details that make someone uniquely them. And here's the beautiful thing. None of this requires effort. None of this is something a woman has to try to do. Because the most unforgettable things, the things people carry with them long after a conversation ends, aren't curated or perfected. They're real, they're raw, they're effortless. So instead of focusing on being noticed in the way society tells you to, focus on being felt in the ways that truly matter. The right people will always recognize what makes you special, not because you've perfected every detail, but because you've embraced who you are without apology. Because in the end, it's never about perfection. It's about presence. It's about authenticity. It's about being real. And that is what people will remember. There's something undeniably powerful about the smallest, most effortless moments. We tend to believe that making a lasting impression requires big, bold gestures, saying the perfect words, making a dramatic entrance, or standing out in a way that demands attention. But the truth is, the things that truly captivate people, the things that linger in someone's mind long after the conversation ends, are often the quietest, most subtle gestures. Men notice these little things, even if they don't always realize it. It's the way she absent-mindedly tucks her hair behind her ear when she's deep in thought, the way she bites the inside of her cheek when she's trying not to laugh, the soft, unconscious hum she lets out when she hears a song she loves. These tiny, unintentional moments are magnetic, not because they're calculated or deliberate, but because they're completely her. Men notice the way she listens. Not just nodding along, but really listening with her eyes, her expression, the tilt of her head, the way she leans in when something captures her interest. They notice the way she reacts, not just to them, but to the world around her. The kindness in her eyes when she sees someone struggling, the warmth in her smile when she greets someone she cares about, the quick flicker of emotion across her face when she's lost in thought. And then there's the way she moves, the way she unconsciously plays with the hem of her sweater when she's nervous, the way she lightly touches someone's arm in a moment of connection, the way she glances up through her lashes when she's unsure of something but trying to be brave. These things may seem insignificant, but they stick. They tell a story about who she is, not the polished, curated version she presents to the world, but the version that exists when she's not even thinking about it. And perhaps the most powerful thing about subtle gestures is that they aren't forced, they aren't rehearsed, they aren't done for the sake of being noticed. They happen naturally, effortlessly, in moments when she's simply being herself. Men don't always remember the exact words someone says. They might not recall every detail of an outfit or a conversation, but they remember how a woman made them feel. They remember the quiet moments, the little things, the unspoken gestures that revealed something real. Because in a world that often focuses on making a statement, sometimes the most powerful thing of all is simply being. In a world where so much attention is placed on how we look, what we say, or how we present ourselves, there's one thing that speaks louder than all of it: how we treat others. It's easy to focus on impressing the people we think matter, being charming in conversation, standing out in a crowd, or saying the right things at the right time. But the truth is, real character isn't revealed in big, performative moments. It's in the everyday interactions that seem small but speak volumes. Men notice how a woman treats those who have nothing to offer her. They notice whether she's kind to a stranger, whether she says thank you to the waiter without thinking, whether she acknowledges the person cleaning the floors or holding the door. They notice if she treats everyone with the same level of respect, not just the people she wants to impress. There's something deeply attractive about a woman who moves through the world with genuine kindness. Kindness that isn't calculated or conditional, but simply who she is. Men notice how she treats her friends. Is she supportive, or does she talk about them behind their backs? Does she build others up, or does she subtly compete with them? They pay attention to how she reacts when another woman walks into the room. Does she greet her with warmth, or does she instinctively judge? They notice how she treats herself. because self-respect is just as telling as the way she treats others. Does she set healthy boundaries? Does she speak about herself with confidence, or is she constantly putting herself down? A woman who respects herself radiates a quiet strength, an energy that people are drawn to, not because she's trying to prove anything, but because she simply knows her own worth. And then there's how she handles difficult moments. Men notice whether she's patient or easily frustrated, whether she reacts with grace or lashes out when things don't go her way, whether she assumes the best in people or is quick to criticize. These small moments may not seem significant, but they leave a lasting impression, because at the end of the day, beauty fades, charm wears off, and the perfect words can be forgotten. But the way a woman makes people feel, the warmth, the kindness, the way she carries herself with grace and integrity, that's what people remember. How she treats others doesn't just define her in the eyes of men. It defines her in the eyes of everyone. It's not about being perfect. It's about being real. And real, genuine kindness, that never goes unnoticed. We live in a world that constantly tells us we have to try to be noticed, to be liked, to be enough. And social media, beauty standards, self-help guides, they all suggest that if we could just put in a little more effort, do a little more, be a little better, then we'd be worthy of attention, admiration, or love. But the truth is, the most captivating people, the ones who leave a lasting impression, aren't the ones trying to be something. They're the ones who simply are. There's a noticeable difference between someone who is striving to be liked and someone who is comfortable in their own skin. Men pick up on this more than women realize. A woman who is always adjusting herself, carefully choosing her words, shaping her personality to fit the expectations of others, she may appear polished, but something feels off. It's like an invisible layer of effort stands between her and true connection. On the other hand, a woman who isn't performing, who isn't constantly questioning whether she's saying or doing the right thing, has an entirely different energy. She moves through life with ease, not because she doesn't care, but because she trusts herself. She's not filtering every word or action through the lens of, will they like this? Instead, she's just being herself. Men notice when a woman is comfortable in her own presence, when she isn't trying to control how she's perceived, but is simply existing in a way that feels natural to her. They notice when she laughs without checking to see if anyone else is laughing too. When she speaks about her passions without worrying if they sound cool enough. When she wears what makes her feel good instead of what she thinks will impress others. And here's something important. Trying too hard doesn't just mean overcompensating. It can also look like holding back, like hesitating before sharing an opinion out of fear it won't be well received. Like dimming your personality so you don't take up too much space. Like always adjusting, always calculating, always measuring yourself against an invisible standard. The irony is the less you try to impress, the more magnetic you become. The more you release the need to be liked, the more people feel drawn to you, because authenticity is rare, presence is rare. A person who is fully at ease with themselves, who embraces their quirks, their opinions, their imperfections, that's unforgettable. So instead of focusing on trying to be more attractive, more likable, more perfect, focus on simply being present, being real, being yourself.